What up, Bridge Nation? We're back with another mock draft video. Thank you so much for the views and attention you gave on the last one. I hope everyone's having a great day, except for the Tyrese Halliburton fans. Um, I hope you enjoy the video.
All right, so we're doing a 14-team mock draft, though. I'm picking 3, Alex is picking 7, Batu's picking 14. Be a bit of a longer mock draft today since it's the 14-team one, so we'll get to pick up some players a bit deeper in the draft.
For sure. We're about to start. Aiden, you're picking number 3. I feel like Jokic probably goes first again. Nothing's really changed.
Yeah, I think Jokic easy locking at 1, and then we'll see who number 2 goes. Maybe I'd be lucky to grab a Giannis if he, if this guy's sleeping on him.
Yeah, I'll just get the draft board ready, so it's a lot easier to see. Yeah, Jokic goes first.
Jokic goes first.
Fine.
Giannis second. Okay, that's a smart pick.
All right, well, if you're at 3 and those 2 guys go off the board, I think the next best available player for fantasy is Luka Doncic. I see a big season coming from him, so that's my 3rd guy.
Fair. So we got Raphael, who picked Trae Young. Okay, Trae Young, number 4. Interesting.
He could have a good season. I mean, Trae Young's averaged basically 30 points and 10 assists in years past, so we'll see what he does with DeJounte Murray next to him now. Could be an interesting year.
Yeah, is that where they have him ranked right now, number 4?
I didn't actually see where Yahoo had him ranked right now, but I feel like these rankings are very rough right now for sure.
They are. They're rough indeed. That's something to say.
Like, Kevin Durant at 5 is a very interesting pick there as well. I feel like there's just so much drama surrounding him right now and a lot of uncertainty that, how do you boys feel about Kevin Durant right now?
Here's the thing. There's a whole thing of an athlete being an athlete, and they don't have to be just an athlete. But I don't like athletes or like basketball players who try to get involved in the management, try to make decisions that'll suit them, like just play your ball and go on.
So you're not a Le GM fan?
The what?
You're not a fan of Le GM?
I have no idea who that is.
Really? Oh.
That's brutal.
He's
Le GM like LeBron James. Okay, there you go.
I was
Definitely
gonna
not a
say.
fan. No, definitely not.
No, Embiid fell to 9 in this draft here.
That's very low for him.
That's actually not bad. Embiid played, I think, 66 games, so he's actually not as much of an injury, well, I guess he is if you look at all his other years, but he did put up 66 games.
Yeah, I think even with him missing, still a dozen of games, his average fantasy points per game is so crazy that he still ranks so high at the end of the year.
Yeah, there's LeBron going
John
12.
Morant was dropped. That is high for him.
John Morant at 12? I like John Morant, honestly.
Are we thinking, I despise Anthony Davis, no hate, mostly because he's on the Lakers, but I'm gonna go drop a little low, pick myself a good center. And I think with Paul George right in my face, I need to pick him.
Okay, I'd be
Can't go wrong with
careful
Paul
with
George.
I'd be careful with Paul George. That high.
Injury prone.
I just think Kawhi is coming back, and he's gonna eat into his usage a little bit.
Okay, all right. I know I just hated on Anthony Davis, but I'm picking Anthony Davis. Hopefully, he doesn't get injured for 35 games of the season.
He could have a bounce back season next year for sure. Could be interesting.
So
he has
16 is high. Did you see that?
Who got picked up, sorry?
Sabonis 16.
Yeah, I mean Sabonis has been a top 10 player. It seems like in years past, but
there goes our boy.
19.
Halliburton before Dame. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one thing Halliburton has going for him is he's a young player who has a history of being healthy so far. So, I mean, if you want healthy players, I guess you draft young.
That's true. He did put up decent numbers beside Fox. All right, who's left here? Who do I want? Who's on on the board. What do I like? Kind of like Donovan Mitchell right now in this range.
Yeah, Mitchell's an interesting player here.
You think he gets
still
traded?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, who knows what's gonna happen? I saw some wild things on Twitter today about the Jazz's asking price currently for Donovan Mitchell.
Oh man.
I think after they got 5 first-round picks for Gobert, they're really feeling it. I mean, they got Danny Ainge as his GM, so if you know who he is, he manages to fleece teams.
Yeah, so we got Jimmy Butler, who just went 23rd. Okay. I don't hate that pick at all.
No, it's not bad. That's not bad at all.
What I'm trying to figure out here is like DeJounte Murray. I know.
You know who he is?
I know who he is now.
Okay.
And he is good. I don't get why he is ranked so high in this draft, because he's just in Atlanta and he's going to the same position as Trae Young. I don't know how I feel about that. And I'm not going to say it's like a bad evaluation or a good evaluation. It's just noticing him this high, given he's in Atlanta, is kind of weird. Ahead of so many point guards and shooting guards that are primary in teams.
No, it's fair. I would say I think this early in the Yahoo Fantasy rankings, I feel like so much of it's being based off of
Last season.
What was last season, and last season DeJounte Murray I think, was the top 10 player.
Yeah.
So
He was
picking here
top
at
5 for a bit.
26. I think at 26, I kind of like what Devin Booker's got here. I think he's going to kind of pick up a little bit more from where he was last year. Already a great all-star player, leading one of the best teams in the league. Probably has a chip on his shoulder after getting knocked out of the playoffs early. I feel like Chris Paul aging too kind of maybe will give role for Devin Booker to have to pick up some slack too. And I'm hoping I can maybe grab someone like Pascal Siakam at my next pick. I think it's a pretty sneaky guy who gives you good value at center.
He is. He towards the end of the season, I feel like he put up top 30 numbers, top 25 numbers.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like he really could be having a big season coming up here.
Yeah, our boy Payscale.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of season his teammates do, like Van Vliet, one going off the board here. I'm curious what Scotty Barnes has coming up for his sophomore year.
Yeah. I like Fred at 24 there, or 28. I think that's...
Mm-hmm.
I think he could finish maybe top 25, a little bit of value there. Top 22.
Bradley Beal at 29 is a decent pickup too, if he stays healthy.
Is he still the number one option?
Oh yeah. Washington, they really have not put a great team around him at this point. They have, Porzingis, who's maybe number 2 at this point. Other than that, it's a tough team.
Porzingis probably goes high too. Like, I think Porzingis goes within the top 40.
Oh, for sure.
There's Siakam.
Yeah.
It's definitely looking interesting this time.
No, there's some interesting players and prospects on the board here. Yeah, lots of names I really like still. Anthony Edwards, I think, could be a breakout player
who's on the board right now? Like, who's left?
So the experts currently are saying Chris Paul, DeMar DeRozan, DeAndre Ayton, Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams, Anthony Edwards, Vucevic, Levine, Cunningham, Middleton. Those are kind of our top guys right now.
Alright, so it's down to me. I'm going to sort it by... If I want to sort by X rank, I don't rank. It's already sorted by rank. You know what? Let's go. I need a center. So we're going to go...
Some good ones. DeAndre Ayton's a respectable center here. Robert Williams gives some good defensive versatility there. Jared Allen down the board a little bit.
I like Vucevic the most out of those options.
Yeah, Vucevic he's an interesting one. He's put up some really good seasons in years past. I'm not sure how to feel about how he's done in Chicago so far, but I feel like there's a big range of how this season goes for him.
Yeah, let me look at his stats real quick. Let me see
I do like Anthony Edwards at pick 36 there. I feel like that's pretty good value.
That's like a really good range for him. I would say that's somewhat of a steal because he has been very consistent over the. I've had him in a different fantasy league and in this one, like in a points league that we have now, over the 2 years, he's just been nothing but consistent. Like, sure, he can get injured, sit out, rest, because he is a newer player in the league. Maybe get restricted limits, but
Yeah.
like that's a guy you want on your team.
I saw Jaren Jackson Jr. go right after Anthony Edwards too, and
See,
I wouldn't do
I
it.
just read up on JJJ, and he underwent surgery end of June, and he'll be out 4 to 6 months. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I
that
think
sucks. Yeah,
with the-
he's gone until
injury,
December.
Yeah, like if you're gonna stash him, like sure, like you draft him knowing he's not playing for a good chunk of the season, but I feel like it's hard to pick this high and draft someone you just don't accept isn't going to be on your team for a while.
Yeah. I don't know if you
I
noticed,
saw
but
Zion, 39.
Zion just went. Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel?
Zion, he's got such a range of potential. Boy could be a top 10 fantasy player, or he could, maybe all of a sudden, some sneaky injuries come up right before training camp, misses another season. I'm sure people who had Zion drafted last year have some bad memories of how that went down.
My boy actually drafted Zion pretty high, and it did not go well for him.
Yeah, no, I feel bad for anyone who drafted Zion last year. They probably had a lot of long nights just thinking about how bad that decision was.
Yeah. Well, Ingram just went
a
42nd.
That was me. I didn't like who I saw as Yahoo ranked. I generally refuse Zach LaVine being the best option. And you guys, like we know, it's the Yahoo ranking right now. It is not the most accurate, but Ingram is my favorite Pelican, and he is, in my opinion, like even if Zion comes back, he is the number one consistent player on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's my evaluation of it.
I think if you look at the stats Ingram averaged in the playoffs last year, like his most recent performances, which is what he's building off of, like man was averaging like 27 points, rebounds, some insane efficiency. So like
Yeah.
we're currently drafting for a points league right now, but even for anyone playing categories league, Ingram is definitely a player who kind of fills you up across the board. So
Yeah, like I've noticed in like the drafts that we've done, De'Aaron Fox consistently falls into the 40s. Like I think he's a little bit of a steal there.
yeah, no, I agree. I think Fox has just I think he's got top 20 potential. Like honestly.
It really does. All right, let me see.
I think it depends on what you value. Like in this channel, we advocate selecting big man first because they become harder to find down the draft. Like centers, we
Absolutely.
value more than point guards because, as you'll see, once we come to round 10 or something, we're gonna have a lot of point guard shooting guards who are still decent, but you're not gonna find any good centers or power forwards. So maybe that's why De'Aaron Fox falls down to 40 because people prioritize centers.
I think it's because he plays in Sacramento.
It's a bad rep.
They get hated on so much.
I mean, make the
Their
playoffs
whole
and then.
their whole organization.
So
Oh yeah, Aiden, go.
my picks went off the. So I was hoping to get Christian Wood at this pick. He went off a couple weeks earlier, but I kind of got a couple interesting options. So right now, my top two guys I'm looking at are either going to be Jared Allen or Scotty Barnes. I feel like both of those players offer some pretty unique value and upside. I feel like kind of like we were talking about before, I like the center, but I don't know. I'm gonna kind of take the risky pick and go Scotty Barnes because I feel like his upside this season could be like pretty crazy.
Agreed.
Okay.
See what he builds on from being a rookie of the year.
Yeah, on unrestricted minutes as a rookie, he was amazing fantasy value wise. Like he went low in last year's draft, and he ended up bringing like 20 to 30 points, fantasy points a night. So that was really nice, especially in like.
I was shocked at how well he performed coming out of the States. I viewed him more as a project player a little bit, but yeah, he was very, very fundamentally sound and well rounded. Oh, Chet Holmgren, 58.
Wow.
That guy scrolled down the board to grab him up there, but I'm up again pretty quick here. I wasn't really scouting out the board too much, but some interesting ones. I see Tyrese Maxey here, and I think I'll just, send it Tyrese Maxey. Can't really have too much time to analyze who else is here, unfortunately. But I feel like Maxey is he's just a good player. Had a great year last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the board, and there's some decent options left here. I think really far, like really low is Westbrook. I think I'm gonna take him here. I don't think he'll fall to me for the 78th pick.
Yeah, I would probably cut it a little close. I mean,
I was eyeing out Westbrook there.
I also kind of feel people are sleeping on Westbrook a little bit here because I feel like everyone knows how bad the season went for the Lakers, and everyone blames Russell Westbrook for it. But what, he still averaged like 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, which is for like fantasy value pretty good.
Did you say Westbrook or Westbrick?
Both are valid. No.
There's redundancy in those terms.
I believe in the bounce back here.
Okay. Yeah, my hearing's not the greatest, so I wasn't sure if you were going after him.
Wanted to make sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. So Desmond Bane, 65th. I think that's a little bit early.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I love what Desmond Bane can do on the court, but I feel like his game's maybe just not multi-dimensional enough for the fantasy value at this range.
He'll give you threes.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the better shooters, good defender, but yeah, it's not like he's going to be pulling down 10 rebounds or dishing out a ton of assists each game. So
yeah, we just had D'Lo go 67th, and I like it, but I feel like just with his history of injuries, I don't know how many games you're getting out of him.
Yeah, it's one of those risky picks, and
I might have to take back my statement about finding good point guards. It's like, this is kind of bad. I'm gonna just pick Terry Rozier as my point guard because he is the one highest on the board in terms of point guards right now, so I don't lose.
He's a solid player.
Yeah, he's all good. Terry Rozier.
Now
Brogdon's still on the board.
Yeah, I mean, starting point guard for the Boston Celtics. I mean, well, you kind of missed a lot
you
of
still
last
got
year.
You still got Nurkic if you need a center.
Yeah, I know. I like Nurkic. I'm pretty sure he's going to be healthy for this upcoming season too. I think I also saw Capella. I'm not sure if someone grabbed him yet. I hope someone did just grab Capella.
Yes, 69.
I'm a clock Brogdon.
Brogdon? That's who you're feeling?
That's how I felt.
But yeah, no, I
want some of that Brogdon.
Want the Brogdon.
Oh yeah.
We all need some good Brogdon boys. Oh, Jalen Brunson. I like that.
Really?
Jalen Brunson, who has him ranked down in the hundreds, but I feel like by the time we actually roll around to when people are drafting their teams and we actually see the average draft picks and things like that, I'm pretty sure Brunson will be higher up.
I like Jeremy Grant.
Just had. Yeah, Grant. I mean, he's going to be playing in Portland alongside Damian Lillard. I mean, he was, fantastic in Detroit. So.
Was he the number one option in Detroit when he was there? I never watched him play.
Yeah, I think you could say he was the number one option.
So, you see Michael Porter Jr. drop a little bit, and that's probably because people are a little nervous to take him.
Yeah, I mean, if you could count how many healthy seasons Michael Porter Jr.'s had, I would say you're not getting too early.
Whoa. Come on, Anthony. Pick. I know you don't want Nurkic. He's auto-drafting. That's beautiful.
Yeah, Nurkic's injury seems like kind of dealt with. I was just reading up on it. Seems like it is for sure a last year issue now.
Okay, so 78th pick. Who do we have on the board?
Jordan Poole. You gotta pick the menace to society.
Which one?
Jordan Poole.
Oh, I like his game, but not that much. I'll roll the dice on Ben Simmons.
Oh, that's a nice.
I'm okay with that. 78th.
Buddy's got a gambler, man.
I think that's a That's about all the gambling I'm gonna be doing. Westbrook and
Comment
Simmons.
comment
I mean,
below of how big of a gamble do you think picking up Ben Simmons is? And this is no judgment to Alex. I just want to hear comments or like input on how do you think Ben Simmons is actually going to do this year?
Yeah.
I think I heard that Ben Simmons' probability of playing is very likely from kind of the inside sources. So it seems like everyone's kind of saying he's going to be playing to start the year. See if that ends up actually happening. I hope it does, but
Well, let me look up his stats when he was actually like, playing ball. So, like a couple years ago. So, how did he do? 2020, 2021 season. 14.3 points. Okay. 7 assists. 7 boards. Steal and about close to 1.5 steals and like half a block per game.
yeah,
I
no. When he plays, he's a great player.
Yeah, that's right. When he plays, if he plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we'd all love to see the guy back out on the court. I mean, let's just hope that's what happens. And if you can draft him low in a draft, I feel like it's worth you taking that chance on. So, oh damn, someone just scooped my boy Wendell Carter Jr. I wanted to draft him.
Me
you
too. I was
scared
scoping
me.
him out.
I thought you were gonna say your boy Klay Thompson. I was like, oh.
Oh, I just noticed Klay Thompson went too.
Was that a sad oh?
That was a sad oh.
Did you want him in the top 100?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
100%. And I'm serious about this.
I'm gonna reach for a center,
Do
kind
it.
of slack centers. So I'm grabbing Isaiah Stewart from Detroit.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, the Detroit Isaiah Stewart. I mean, he's going into the next year. He's been decent so far. Young team. He should get opportunity.
I can see that. Yeah.
Natural progression. Like last year, he averaged 8.3 points, 8.7 rebounds. It looks like so. Yeah.
I think this pick is. I feel pretty confident taking Sadiq Bey here.
I really like Sadiq Bey. I feel like he's got a big season ahead of him here.
I think he's underrated.
I'd say so too.
Like, I think Sadiq Bey, worst case, top 110 maybe, 115. Took him 91st. I could live with that.
So say I like Jalen Green in this range on 92nd. Because I could see a world of a number one option in Houston. If you're getting a number one option at pick 92.
I think Anthony Simons just went 93rd.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who's probably going to be, starting in Portland this upcoming season, that offers good value there.
Lowry just went. James Wiseman 94th. That I like it. You got to take some chances. I don't know if I would have taken that chance.
Yeah, I mean, I like what I've seen from. Oh, there's Batchy. I'm sorry, man. You just missed him.
Şengün.
I don't even know who to frickin' pick here right now. This is bad. This is bad.
There's some options for sure, but
I'm really feeling Sexton right now. Brooke Lopez maybe can't go. Maybe.
Do not do Lopez.
You know what?
Don't.
No?
No.
Okay, Sexton it is. I'm better than Al Horford, to be honest.
I mean, I'm curious what Sexton will do. I don't think he's got signed or extended yet, as far as I know. Unless I've missed it, but yeah.
We might just have to ignore the Sexton just as a mistake. I don't like this range. Not a lot of decent guys. Brandon Clark, fine, but he's so much firepower in Grizzlies that.
I like Kuzma, honestly. He's still on the board.
I like Kuzma as well. I think he'd be a decent.
I'm gonna take your advice, Kuzma. Even though he's a meme for the league, he might be a meme for my team.
Trent Jr. as well. I saw Trent Jr. down the board. I was keeping an eye on Trent Jr. I think he's gonna have a pretty good year for Toronto upcoming here.
You think he continues it?
I expect him to continue it. I mean, he should be starting for that team, and yeah, just a good player.
Okay, yeah. I was a little bit surprised by what he did last year.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think he showed kind of signs of that. I think that's what the player he's going to be. Toronto got pretty lucky being able to bring a guy like that in.
What team did he get traded from?
Ooh, I think he was on Portland in that Norman Powell swap that they did years ago before Norman Powell got shipped off to the Clippers.
Okay. I see that. Yeah, Powell, Lopez, like, those are players that, I don't know, especially Lopez, I don't think I would take him.
Yeah, I mean, Brook Lopez, like, he's seen a lot of injuries in recent years.
Yeah, like, when he plays, he's really good. I just don't know how much he plays. Like, I think he's getting up there in age, too.
Yeah, I will say I definitely like other centers who are on the board more than I like Brook Lopez. Like, I see Zubac, a little bit down the board from Lopez. I'd rather have Zubac, Mo Bamba, Rashawn Holmes.
So, I did have Zubac last year, and the thing to watch with him is just, the Clippers have the center, Hartenstein, that seem to get almost as much minutes as Zubac sometimes. So they usually only play him like 20-ish minutes a game. I think he needs 30 to be like top 100.
I will say Hartenstein is no longer on that team, if that makes you feel better about it. Hartenstein's a Knick.
Oh, I did not know that. I like that. Still gonna go with Kevin Porter Jr. here.
Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. is good value. I mean, he seems to have his issues, but he can play. Seems like a guy who's ready to have one of those breakout seasons eventually.
I think he's a number 2 option. 2 or 3.
Yeah, all right. I'm back up. So let's see who we got. Norman Powell, Zubac going off the board here. A couple of those guys to keep an eye on. I like Harrison Barnes.
I like Harrison Barnes, yeah.
I just want to put my input saying that I think Zubac is the most untalented basketball player to ever exist. That's all.
Is that like, tell me how you really feel about him.
I've seen this. So I'm Dallas Stars fan here, and I've seen the playoffs. Like, 2 years back to back, they've got matched 3 years almost.
Are we gonna let that slide? Are we gonna let that slide?
I feel like it'll be addressed in the comments.
Yeah. Batu. I'll just quote him here. He said he was a Dallas Stars fan.
Oh, that. Oh, that's.
Here we go. Yeah, a Mavs fan. I'm sorry. Anyway, so I got the opportunity of watching Zubac a lot, and this guy, he runs very slow, but he runs. That's a center. But he has zero touch, zero flexibility, and I think his game IQ is kind of not so great. So, will he create opportunities? Sure, but do you really want to be associated having him on your team as a fantasy manager? Probably not.
I think you do. Where'd he go? Did he go in the hundreds?
Oh, he went at 107th.
107th. I think you want that.
Aiden, who'd you pick?
I just grabbed PJ Washington. So I think he's going to kind of have to have an increased role next season. He was decent last year, but I don't know if you guys have been following the Miles Bridges situation.
No.
So Miles Bridges kind of got into some kind of domestic violence thing. Doesn't seem like he's getting signed by any team. I'm just gonna shout that out. Herb Jones picked up. I love my boy Herb Jones. Pick Herb Jones as high as you can. He's a legend. But because Bridges isn't playing on the Hornets, that gives one of those forward spots or someone to step up, and I think PJ Washington seems like a prime candidate to do it.
I could see that. So
Grab Markkanen.
Yeah.
I like what Markkanen offers.
119th, yeah, I can live with that.
Oh, definitely. That's a good scoop for sure.
You know what we didn't notice was Jalen Suggs. Like, I was trying to see where he was drafted, and I think that's actually a really good pickup.
I think I went at 103 or something, or yeah.
Yeah, just like fairly low. I think he has potential.
I'd agree.
Reggie Jackson, 121st. I think Reggie Jackson's a really good player, but he's on a really crowded team.
I think people are kind of worried about the John Wall, Reggie Jackson kind of, competition, I guess, for the guard position right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good players left, though. Like some of the names I'm noticing right now that I like, I see Dylan Brooks. I think he's going to be pretty good. Mike Conley's still there. He's probably going to be pretty good. Lou Dortz. Monte Morris is way down the board, and I think he's going to be a steal for some people. He's going to be a starting point guard in Washington, potentially.
I haven't heard Lou Dort's name in a while.
Yeah, I had him on my team so much. He's kind of an
just
upset.
To throw this out there, Steven Adams is still on the board.
Yep.
For some people who are looking at centers later in the draft.
I'm looking at Steven Adams.
Did I look at Steven Adams?
I mean, if you want a little early.
I've been eyeing out Chris Boucher this whole time.
I'm not a huge Chris Boucher fan for fantasy. I don't know. That's just the fact that he always comes off the bench and he's kind of on a crowded team. Like,
I'm gonna take my shot with Chris Boucher, and I'm gonna drop to pick up DeAndre Hunter.
Another interesting player. Curious what people think of Thomas Bryant for this upcoming year.
I think he's a little bit undervalued right now.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like it's him, Damian Jones, who are going to be the kind of two main candidates who will be competing to start it for the Lakers as a center for this upcoming season. I also think Josh Hart at 129 is a steal, and Franz Wagner at 128. Those are both great picks.
Sorry, who'd you say? You cut out a little bit there for me.
Oh, I was just talking about Franz Wagner and Josh Hart being picked up where they just got drafted. I think those are really good picks.
Oh, yeah. Pokusevski just went. That's... Okay.
Man, I feel like people are a lot higher on that guy than I am. Like, how many games has he even played in his career to this point? I feel like he's just spent so much of his time in the G League.
That, but also just the way OKC is structured, where they have so many young, like, relatively talented players. It's just, you never know who they're going to throw in their lineup.
Fair enough. He played 61 games in the NBA last year. We'll see what he does.
How many minutes did he play per game?
He averaged 20.
Okay, so I like Derek White here. Who else is on the board? Jayshawn Tate. Derek White probably coming off the bench on Boston, maybe looking at 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, I think he's likely going to be a bench player next year. Be really surprised if he's not.
I'll do that. I'm okay with that.
Still a good pickup. He puts up decent numbers.
134th. Yeah,
I'm back on the board. I like Aaron Gordon at this range. I feel like he's kind of a steal.
Yeah, he's hasn't been getting too much attention, I think is the kind way to say it. He's been forgotten about a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, a starter, probably the second best player on Denver last year. Really good numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Denver has. Go ahead.
Him and Jokic has, like, watching the games, him and Jokic have pretty chemistry, and as far as fantasy ball goes, like, you don't care about chemistry, but they produce either an assist or a point. And when Jokic is resting, Aaron Gordon seems to be playing most of the time. So from what I observed, so like second best, 100% agree. And you're naming up a name like Nikola Jokic is pretty good for anyone picking him.
Grabbing someone like him definitely could be worth your while.
Oh, Keldon Johnson got drafted, I think 110. I think that's actually a little low for him. I missed that.
Yeah, he's got some value to offer for sure.
His teammate just got drafted, I think, Devin Vassell.
Devin Vassell. Yeah, Devin Vassell could be an interesting player to follow this year too. San Antonio, I mean, now that DeJounte Murray's gone, especially, so many opportunity players. I think we're about to see Jonathan Isaac go off the board to an auto draft here as well. Seems like a couple people are starting to talk about it. Oh, no, Steven Adams.
Okay. Stole my pick. That's unfortunate.
You know, those drafters. I think I'm going to grab Dylan Brooks at this range. I think he offers some respectable value here. What's the kind of game later in the draft?
So let's see who's left on the board here.
You get Jose Alvarado.
I could.
8-second violation like a Jose Alvarado.
Let's see. Are there any centers left? Gafford.
Kevin Looney.
Let's go.
Daniel Tice.
Yeah.
Ryan Whiteside.
I think
Thomas
he's
Bryant.
starting. They'll have to take a look.
Montrezl Harrell's here. He's not signed currently, but he's there. Kevin Love is down the board.
Kevin Love, yeah, there's someone we haven't heard too much from. It's pretty
Thaddeus
low.
Young.
Thaddeus on Toronto? Toronto now?
Yeah. Marvin Bagley. I feel like I'm kind of high on Marvin Bagley. I think he's got a good chance at starting for the Pistons at power forward this upcoming year.
He was the number 1 pick, right?
He was the number 2 pick. I also like Jaden Ivey, who just went at 149. I think he's gonna have a good role.
Looks like they heard us talking. Kevin Love, 152nd.
Yeah, I mean these are good choices. You know, you gotta sometimes just scroll down the board and see like who's sleeping on. TJ Warren's down the board.
Yeah.
I kind of like what TJ Warren offers in Brooklyn. We'll see what happens with Kevin Durant. That's going to affect his value to me. Like if there's no Kevin Durant, I think the offers Marcus Morris Sr. He's still here.
Marcus Morris Sr. is, I feel like, a little bit of a sleeper.
Nicholas Claxton. I feel like he's a great pick for centers.
I mean, Drummond's still on the board, despite how, like...
Yeah.
I don't
Plumlee.
know. What's the word? I was looking at Plumlee. His minutes were going down.
Yeah.
But, Drummond's on... I think he's on Philly now. So, I was only seriously looking at him when Embiid was out.
I'm gonna drop a take here too. If Donovan Mitchell gets traded, watch out for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think he's gonna be a climber for fantasy if Donovan Mitchell gets traded.
Okay. We'll come back to that.
Also, Montrezl Harrell. He's gonna be such a
for the Suns.
Sorry.
Oh wait, never mind. I'm thinking of never mind. I was
Sims.
thinking Jay Crowder.
Primo actually at 161 is a decent pick. I think he could be one of those guys in San Antonio who gets thrown the wheelhouse of opportunity. So that could be good for his value.
Baisley's still on the board.
Yeah, basically one of those guys who can go really quiet or have some great games. You're grabbing my boy Thomas Bryant. I like it.
Yeah. I was looking at the board. Like, anyone in this range, I'm comfortable dropping.
I mean, these are our last 2 picks of the draft. Like, at this point, just reach for guys who you want on your team. Like, I'm going to drop Marvin Bagley right here because I personally think Marvin Bagley's got a good season ahead of him.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think you draft some players, you take a couple chances, and then you're, like, say one pick doesn't work out, that's the guy that you drop, and that's how you win your weekly ads.
Yeah, like, it's always good to, at the end of the day, have a couple spots on your team where you can kind of cycle it in to get as many games as possible.
Yeah. Malik Beasley went pretty late in this draft.
He did.
He's performed when, like, if injuries, like, show up to Utah.
Oh, you know who's still here? Naz Reid.
Yeah, I wonder why. How did that happen?
I'm in shock.
I have nothing kind to say.
I'm scrolling way down the board to see if there's any like crazy names who are like the 300s. So I'm like, why? So
Killian Hayes is still on the board. I know he had a pretty rough season.
Alex Caruso is at 296. I feel like that's kind of low for a boy.
The GOAT.
Davion Mitchell in Sacramento. He's pretty low here too. All right, I'm on top though. I'm gonna draft Monte Morris. I think he's gonna be a player who's surprisingly good this season for fantasy. Now that he's in Washington, I'm predicting him to start next to Bradley Beal.
So consistent.
Did Halliburton go yet?
Yeah.
I feel like this is his range.
Oh no.
You know, Kelly Oubre Jr. I feel like is a sleeper down here too.
Okay.
I'm
Like,
sleeping on Kelly Oubre Jr. Pause, but I'm waiting for that guy to pick him up.
I like Marcus Morris here in this slot.
I also like Marcus Morris deep in drafts as well. He's always a guy who I think just surprises people with how well he plays.
He's like, I think people get him confused with his brother.
You're probably
Yeah.
right.
And like, I think Marcus Morris Sr. is arguably better, or at least puts up better numbers. Didn't try to injure Jokic at least.
You know, there's a lot of interesting players who kind of are still on the board at this point, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Also,
you want to just maybe click through, show people who's still left.
well, Seth Curry is still left, and he's just like consistently slept on. He puts up decent numbers.
No, there's a good amount of
He's on a team that's like, you know, he can always be sidelined like that.
Yeah.
That's my issue with Seth Curry.
Kevin
Or Brooklyn
Herter.
Nets for them.
Kevin Herter. He's on Sacramento now. He's a little bit of a like that's really low for him. He hasn't been drafted yet.
No, it's an interesting one.
Let's see. Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, I guess you pick up if he's got a lot of games in the week, maybe, and he's not injured.
Yeah, there's a lot of young players kind of around in the draft here too.
Yeah. So last couple names that went off here. Isaiah Jackson. Oh, that is a good pick, I think.
Yeah, Isaiah Jackson could be a pretty valuable player here.
At 180th, I think he was putting up like close to top 70, top 60 value at one point last season to get him.
Yeah.
There were injuries though, like
he started going off when when he had that increased opportunity with Sabonis and stuff like that.
Well, Sabonis is gone. What are their center options right now?
That's a good question. Honestly, I'm not sure who else the Indiana.
I think they have Miles Turner. I think he might be their starter.
He'll be their starting center for sure. Let's see who else is on that roster who's maybe competing for forward minutes. Jalen Smith, he might be someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, but I like Isaiah Jackson.
Beyonce,
Even if he comes off the bench, if he gives you 20 minutes, I think he's more than worth his 180th pick here.
I'm not sure if Benedict Mathurin ended up getting drafted too, but he's a rookie on the Pacers who could be a pretty good pickup for people. Something to keep in mind.
Benedict, he did not. He's ranked 517th.
That just shows, man, they haven't really factored in the rookies. So this guy was the 6th pick in the draft. He's coming on to one of those teams who, is willing to play young players from the seams of it. So you could scoop up some good young players like Benedict Mathurin's here. I think the top 5 players seem to get drafted, and after that, I don't think I saw anyone go.
Yeah.
Like we had Chet Holmgren go, Paolo Banchero went, Jaden Ivey went off the board too.
Yeah, so you got how's Larry Nance doing on the Pelicans?
He plays great. He's a great player to have on an actual team, but I feel like for fantasy, his minutes are kind of, I don't know. I just don't think his minutes are great for fantasy in a standard league.
You know who actually did kind of get slept on? Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
216th.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys here who are like, I could easily see a lot of players at this range end up becoming like waiver ads for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think a player like Pat Bev is a weekly ad.
I mean, we'll have to see. It depends on your league, but in at least in this, I could see him. You don't think he'd finish in the top 150, 140? Let's look at his stats.
I'm not gonna say no. Like he might.
How do you guys feel about Kendrick Nunn?
I'm gonna pull up Patrick Beverly's stats. I just remember his last game where he was like crying and he took the jersey off and like he was hugging people when they won the play-in game, and I might pick him just for that performance alone.
He was Finals MVP in our hearts.
He's the NBA champion there. What do you mean?
Yeah, you're right.
They won the whole thing.
Man got a 6th ring.
Okay,
just by
so
winning that.
9 points. Got a steal and a block per game, 4.6 assists, and 4 boards. And let's see how many minutes he did that in. He did it in 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, man. It's just, you just hope he ends up on a team that gives him minutes.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta watch those early games and see what kind of minutes he gets.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I've even heard stuff that, maybe like the Lakers even still want to chase Patrick Beverly in a trade, but well, I feel like the Lakers want to chase everyone in a trade right now.
Lakers would do anything to do anything. They need something going for them. Like, just in general, like what happened with the league in the last 2-3 years, the big old Brooklyn Nets trade, AD and LeBron. I know it was beforehand, but AD and LeBron to Lakers. How much the balance have been shifted in the league across conference is just insane, and I'm kind of anti that. Like, no 3 or 4 players should have that much pull in the league to kind of ruin franchises. But
yeah, I mean, I think like one example right now is LeBron with the Lakers. Like, if you're a Lakers fan, we're gonna have some fun years with LeBron James, and that's the honest truth. Like, he'll hopefully get into the playoffs. Maybe he'll compete for something. But once LeBron is gone, guys, like, I don't really know what kind of future you guys are gonna have. Like, you have no first round picks. It sounds like you're gonna trade your first round picks to try to build a competitive team around LeBron. And once LeBron's gone, I don't know if like guys like Anthony Davis are gonna stay. So they could be going down a dark path.
I mean, you look at Brooklyn Nets. I don't know how many players got shifted around, how many draft picks they gave away just to have all 3, and now they're basically gone. Like, Kyrie just decided to not play basketball anymore. Harden is on a league of his own, and KD is still chasing a ring.
I mean, like, I'm high on Harden. I took him number 7. I think he delivers.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he does. One thing he does, he delivers. He knows how to score points. Like, he gets fouled. That's his, I think, number 1 scoring option, to draw a foul and get into the free throw line.
Yeah, I'm looking through the picks. I also think Karl Anthony Towns fell quite a bit in this one to 13. I think
13 for Towns is a good pickup. I mean, just frankly, the fact that he can play center for you is a good enough reason to pick a guy like Towns alone.
Yeah. So, are there any picks you want to talk about? I'm just kind of looking at them right now in the draft results column.
I think LeBron James, 12th overall, or whatever, is way too high. And this is not a pure, like, if you didn't get it already, we don't like LeBron as much. But again,
I mean, you two don't like LeBron.
Objectively evaluating, you're looking at some 40-year-old man who's just chasing a fix of like a championship or a success.
You can tell that Batu watches Skip like daily. Like, he's got the poster of Skip. He listens to he's got the audio recorded, the ringtones, all that.
That's what he's listening to in his headphones as he's talking to us right now. He's just going like, it's a motivational stuff. But like, when LeBron plays, he's an insane player, and he might like average fantasy points. He's up there with the best players. But I'm just gonna quote his last 3 seasons or last 4 seasons for games played. So last year, played 56 games. The year before that, played 45 games. The year before that, 67 games. And the year before that, 55 games. He didn't pass 70 games once in the last 4 years. Is that what you want with your first draft pick? That's just something to think about.
11 is high for him. Maybe top 20, 30.
Yeah, but I mean, like, LeBron, if he's healthy, he could end up being a top 5 player. Simple as that. But he's gonna sit out games. He's gonna try to stay healthy for the playoffs. We'll see how hard he needs to go to chase, potentially getting a playoff seed this year, depending how the team does. So,
Yeah, I noticed Sabonis went 16th, and honestly, I like him more than AD and Paul George both, in that range.
I mean, he's the healthiest player out of those 3. If you're going for health.
And that's usually what I'm drafting for in the first couple rounds. I just want solid, consistent players that show up. And the rest I'll figure out as the season goes on.
For
steal
sure,
some
for sure.
picks.
But yeah, well, I think that's a decent place to leave this mock draft. But we will be doing more mock drafts on our channel as we come closer to the fantasy season. We'll do some different styles. We'll change up how many teams are going to be in the drafts to kind of give you guys different perspectives. So this was a points. We'll maybe do some rotisserie drafts. We'll potentially do some salary cap drafts. Comment down below if you guys have any ideas. But otherwise, we will see you guys in the next video.